we have a lot of catching up to do.
So let's do it.
Hello, Propels! I am Joe954, and welcome back to Catching Up, the self-explanatory series where we catch up in more ways than one. Catching up in the Super Mario Galaxy save file, in addition to catching up with my life with you guys. The last episode we covered fall 2019. This episode will be the first of 3 that covers the worst year of my life. That's, yeah. So, the previous experiences and episodes and stories that I've told, they've been bright and cheery, they've been chaotic, but in a good way. Yeah, that's not going to be the case anymore. But it did start out with a little bit promising, I guess. You know, how could it after how climactic of an incredible finish fall 2019 was? Hell, I mean, there was some really cool stuff that I actually didn't get to talk about in that episode. That happened in fall 2019 that could have also fit right in, you know? I just didn't due to the fact that it would have taken more time, for which I already needed to stall, so it probably didn't seem practical. And it probably wouldn't seem practical to do that here either. Also, wow, it was surprisingly quick to catch those stars. You see that? They sort of like homed in on me like Super Mario Galaxy 2 style. Like when you're Rock Mario and you like hit a crystal and they sort of auto go into you without any help from the cursor. That's kind of what that felt like. That must have just been like the way that the cursor felt. Also, I know this is one of the places where the control stick tends to be a little janky. Yeah. We got out of there rather quickly, which is good. I'm also generally going through this mission rather quickly, and I haven't even started talking about 2020 yet. Let's do that. So, of course, 2020 begins with the spring 2020 semester. And, yeah, I mean, I was getting back in. I now had essentially an established friend group, which we named after the room on campus that we always tended to meet at, a place we referred to as the Gov Suite, just short for Student Government Suite. Camera, can you? Oh, awesome. It's good. Awesome. Good job. Thank you, Almar's spaceship. So, I had an established friend group. In some distant future Geometry Dash videos, you might hear them, like, on a call with me while I'm beating levels and stuff. I might have them in videos at other points as well. We'll see. I'll have to make sure they're YouTube ready, you know? And so, before classes actually began, obviously I moved in. It was the second semester of sophomore year, so I was staying in the same place I was staying in the previous semester. And before classes began, there was a Mario Kart tournament. It was Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, of course. And got me and a bunch of my friends to go to it. There weren't too many people there, but it was enough for them to run a bracket, you know? And I can't remember exactly how the bracket was run. What I do remember is that I won. That rhymed. But yeah, I ended up winning the tournament, actually, which was pretty awesome. You know, winning a Mario Kart tournament, that's not something I was able to do years and years ago, whichever year it was that I was at PAX East and entered a Mario Kart tournament, and I lost in the second round. So that was funny. I sort of like did a canceled triple jump. Yeah, once again, the controls in general feel pretty good. Again, I wonder if we're going to see some ridiculous jank like we did in the last episode, or maybe I'll just forget my buttons and accidentally ground pound into the black hole. That could happen. You know. I don't think it takes a prophet to determine that is a possibility. What does take a prophet to know, perhaps, is something else that I predicted. So, on Discord, I started to tend to use Do Not Disturb a little more often, and now I pretty much use it 24/7. And there was this one server that I moderate, and I was on Do Not Disturb for a little while, back before I used it all the time. And I came back, and apparently there was this ridiculous argument while I was eating, and I just missed the whole thing. Kind of felt bad because the other mods had to deal with it, but it's, I came back. I was just like, "This is what happens when I'm on Do Not Disturb." You guys need to get things under control. The people in the server, not the mods. They had it under control. But I was just like, man, I better not put on Do Not Disturb again, or the flood might come. Then the following semester starts, and it starts with campus being flooded. Oh, I didn't mean to reveal that galaxy yet. That's okay. We won't go there yet. Yeah, that was just like, holy fuck. Apparently I predicted it, and then, if I remember correctly, I said something along the lines of, the next time I turn on Do Not Disturb and something like this happens, I'm gonna summon the plague. This was in late 2019, might I add. So, yeah, there are some prophetic traits of mine. Can I control them? No, they aren't useful. They certainly could have been useful that year, that's for sure. So I won the Mario Kart tournament, and as a prize, I got this Mario-themed Monopoly game, which I actually recently played that with my family and got my ass kicked. Which is funny because I remember as a kid being really, really good at Monopoly, but I also don't remember having luck that horrendous. I was consistently getting some of the worst dice rolls I could have possibly gotten. But that's John's, you know? It's all about those split-second decisions I should have been making and wasn't, right? Right? It's all about pure skill. Speaking of pure skill, let me walk across this. This is a good way to stall for time, by the way, because I have a lot of things to talk about. Although there are a lot more stars to get in this episode than there were the last episode, so let's find out if this is worth it. I haven't died yet in this series. We'll see if I do. I was gonna say, I don't think this is worth it. The designers are like, let's program collision for this object. We do a little trolling. Also, I always found it funny how, like, they waited this long to tell you to jump and spin. Like, you've already done an entire dome's worth of stars, and then they're like, you can gain extra height with spinning in midair, as if you wouldn't have already figured that out. So, following the Mario Kart tournament, classes began. And once again, I was expecting a pretty tough semester, but I wasn't entirely sure if I was, gonna see a semester quite as hard as fall 2019. It was difficult to imagine a semester more difficult than that. It wasn't difficult to imagine a semester more difficult than that following said semester. So I was taking a number of classes, and I was a lucky man because I was able to transfer credit and get out of a particularly annoying engineering design class that I took an equivalent class for in high school, so that's nice. I had to take like a little baby version of it. Wow. I was like, oh, where's the shell? And there it was. I had to take like a little baby version of it, which took very little effort. It was just basically take a personality test, answer a couple questions, do a presentation. Easy money. that was Professional Development 1. And it was one of very few classes that actually got easier because of the pandemic. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So the other classes I was taking, there was a class known as Computer Architecture, Networks, and Operating Systems, which essentially acted as the direct sequel to Fall 2019's Computer Components and Operations. Whoa, 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 analog stick going nuts. There we go. I also took Intro to Algorithms, which was sort of like the direct sequel to Foundations of Computer Science. It's basically more theoretical bullshit about computer science, but slightly less theoretical and far more bullshit. Took a class called Electric Circuits, which I actually was expecting to take a semester later. Oh, I should have used that red shell. I don't think you can save shells for the boss fight. I'll try, but I don't think you can do that. I don't think I've used spin button yet. I've always been shaking. Yeah, that's what happens when you grow up with this game on the Wii. Well, let's see what happens if we try and take this there. Oh, damn it. Yeah, the Sling Star makes us get rid of the shell. Should have seen that one coming. Well, it's time to fight Camilla. I was also taking Physics 2. And Physics 2 at my school is notoriously shitty. It is always considered to be one of the more annoying classes, and of course it's required for my major, and it's an 8 a.m. An unavoidable 8 a.m. Every single section for that class that semester was at 8 a.m. From 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then a 2-hour lab block right after it, or 2 hours right after it. So basically Tuesday and Friday I had 4 hours of circuits each, or 4 hours of physics each, although a lot of it was circuits because a good portion of Physics 2 was learning about electromagnetism. It was E&M, as the kids say. My high school didn't have E&M. Oh, well, I sniped a Magic Koopa. That's not what I meant to do. Might as well take the other one out. I think that block is coins, right? Yeah. Ow! Well, at least I got it back. Yeah, so, and then the other class I was taking was this 1 hour a week class, which I have to admit I got super lucky in because of my assigned presentation. It was just this enrichment seminar, which was basically, you have one assignment, and that's to do a semester-long presentation that you're assigned. And the other assignments are just one multiple choice question per other people's presentations. I might as well start with that class since it was the least complex. So, yeah, it was a 1 credit easy course. It was just a major requirement, and it was easy. But that's not the impression I got the first day. The professor came up to the front of the class, and the lecture hall that we were in, by the way, is one of the best lecture halls on campus. I have to check my fall 2021 schedule to see if I'm in that room for any of my classes, because that's a good one. That's certainly one of the rooms I miss. So, he comes up to the front of the class, he's like, and he utters the words that every college student fears. I'm gonna teach this class differently this semester. If you're a college student and you hear those words, like, get your finger on the drop class button, just in case. Now, thankfully, it was a bit of a false alarm. It just kind of seemed like he was doing that just to give the class some semblance of structure. But let me tell you something. Hearing, we're gonna teach this class differently this semester is scary. Especially considering what followed it. It seemed like one of those classes where it's, let's read a bunch of pointless bullshit about, like, diversity and, you know, inclusion training and all this other stupid shit that goes in one ear and out the other of all engineering students, you know? Also, I think I've now opened the prankster comment. It hasn't appeared yet in Space Junk. Ideally, it appears after this mission, so... Yeah, Terrain Tox's Tangled Web. And then we can do the Polestar Path speedrun. Then I'm actually going to go back. I'm going to do Dino Piranha speedrun and the Honey Hive Cosmic Mario Race. I'm going to do both of those this episode. We should have the time. So, yeah, I'm actually going through these stars faster than I expected. So, yeah, I mean, and by the way, I mentioned this in my E3 reaction, but I might as well mention it again. I now have a cable for my camera that allows me to, after all these years, record while charging, which means I don't have to take breaks so that my camera can charge. I can now finally record for as long as I want. The only constraint is memory card space, which actually might constrain me for this episode. We'll see if that's the case. If the LCD screen wasn't lying to me, it shouldn't be an issue, because I have almost 3 hours of space according to what it said at the beginning. Alright, we're not going to be feeding this hungry Luma right now. We're going to be waiting on that to the secret star, which in all likelihood will happen after the prankster comments. So, he comes up to the class, he's like, alright, we're going to teach this class differently. You're going to be randomly assigned groups and randomly assigned presentation topics. You can understand why I was worried, right? You know, that's not a very good start to what's supposed to be a free one credit class that most people typically are able to just sleep through, you know? And so I got my assigned group, and 2 of the 3 other people in the group were people I already knew, sort of, at the very least, I was acquainted with. So that's good. And I was looking through, there were 26 different presentation topics, there were 26 groups. And we were assigned a presentation depending on where in the room we were sitting. And I can't remember if he had us like sit in a certain order or whatever, or if it was just, you know, pure luck of the draw. But whatever it was, I got lucky because I basically got the one presentation topic that wasn't like super boring. All of the other ones were about, like, generic, like, quality assurance, like, diversity, it's basically just buzzer... I've never done that before! Holy shit, my aim! I actually knocked the toad from one sling pod directly to the next. That is super funny. Do I die if I go on this side? No, okay. Believe it or not, I actually don't want to kill this toad. I actually want to practice aiming because the Hungry Luma mission is the Sling Pod Galaxy, which in my walkthrough has accounted for more deaths than any other mission. A very sticky situation, as it's called, which is a very difficult mission. But it's also good for starbit grinding, so that means we can stall for time there. So yeah, I got the one, like, not stupid presentation topic, which was, although depending on if you talk to the right or wrong computer scientist, it is a BS topic, which is quantum computers. So I got to talk about quantum computers later in the semester. It was much later in the semester because depending on the number that you got also determined when you needed to present. So, you know, pour one out for the people who were groups 1 and 2 because they had 1 week to prepare their presentation. But, you know, they also didn't have to worry about it for the rest of the semester. It was sort of a trade-off, but you want a little more of a balance. I was group 23, so I was one of the last ones. And they were in 2s, so mine was for the second to last week. Which it was interesting to say the very least. And I'll talk a little more about that later on, but that's all you need to know for that class. I already talked about Professional Development 1. It's fairly self-explanatory. It was the kind of stuff that I'm glad I didn't have to do an enrichment seminar, you know? Alright, break into Tarantox's very tangled web. Oh yeah, that's right, you can get coins by, like, waving your cursor. Let me see if there are any other toads I can break free. I love that you can just keep holding and you go left by holding right. I'm glad that's the case, otherwise it would be less intuitive. There we go. Alright, so... which one should I talk about? I'll talk about Intro to Algo first. So, algorithms, or Algo for short. Up to that point, definitely the worst class I've taken. It was incredibly boring and really not taught well. It was so the professor that I had for that class, it was his first semester ever of lecturing, period, and my god, it showed. And I know some people are gonna get mad at this, but like, it can be an actual serious roadblock when your professor has an impossible to understand accent. Now, that would be fine, I suppose, if the topic was at the very least something that you could understand without it being too overly high concept. But these were like abstract algorithms, and I'm an engineering student, which means it doesn't come naturally to me, unlike a lot of my computer science friends. So yeah, that was not good. And the shitty part was, we were teased because the first lecture of the class was by someone who actually knew what they were doing. And then all the other lectures were by this new guy who would basically go over this problem and then would be like, all right, let's go over it again. And then he would go over it again, twice as slow. And then he'd be like, all right, let's go over it again. It was so bad. And let me tell you, doing that doesn't help, all right? I asked him to go back in one of his previous slides because he finally showed something important in the lecture and zoomed right by it before I could copy it down. And he's just like, and he said no. He said no. Unfucking believable. And the exams for that class were kind of fucking stupid too. Because they were like super open book. Like, that class had, nice, okay. That class had three textbooks, okay? Really only one of them was required, and the professor alluded to, see if you can find a PDF on Google. Now me as a textbook hoarder, I actually do buy the textbooks, and I'm glad that I did, because wow, they certainly do help on the exams. But you know what else? You know what helps even more on those exams? The fact that they're fucking carbon copies of back tests readily available in the union office. You know how, like, if any of you are in high school, like, your teacher just takes, like, a test from, like, Quizlet.com or something, and just makes that your test, and if you happen to have studied that specific Quizlet, you can just no-brain the entire test. And if everybody catches on to that, then everybody gets 100, and the teacher just thinks that they're amazing at teaching. Yeah, college is no different. Well, sometimes it's no different. It depends on how sadistic the professors are. But this one, at the very least, when things weren't online, certainly had mercy on us. And so, if you were familiar with the back tests, the tests were suspiciously easy. And that was funny. And I gotta tell you, that was certainly one of those classes where I am glad that I had friends who were in the classes, because otherwise the homeworks would have been incredibly difficult for me. I also felt like I was scammed because the semester before mine, the algorithms class didn't have homework. Both semesters, however, did have labs, which, much like the other computer science classes, they aren't labs. They're just they're just classwork assignment under a stricter time limit. So yeah, not a lab. Just it's literally just a. Oh no, am I dead? Okay, I was really scared there. I was literally about to say, labs and computer science are literally just a speedy comet version of the classwork assignments. It's literally fucking every week I'd go to Algo Lab and it would be speedy comet in orbit, figure out this dynamic programming algorithm. I can't believe how well that analogy works, because it's literally just they slap a time limit on a homework problem. That's so funny. Oh yeah, that's right. And algorithms was another one of those classes where the professor was like, all right, we're gonna teach this class a little differently this semester. And it was another sort of false alarm where it was like, so we're gonna implement some humanities stuff into this class this year. And we're just like, oh no. Well, I didn't take this algorithms class so I could learn about race theory, you know? But it ended up being like one essay assignment, and by the time it was assigned, it was actually like a breath of fresh air that we got that instead of another algorithms problem, which is kind of indicative of how poorly the class is taught. I'm pressed for time. I haven't been rushing nearly as much as I should have been. Almost died. We're good. Come on. Can we do a zero deaths fountain? That would be so cool. Especially if we manage to not die in a very sticky situation. If I fluke that star, I'm gonna be very impressed with my skills. Okay, it's not over yet. Still need to make it back to the star. Which I have failed to do in the past in the purple coin version of this, which will be one of the first walkthrough parts that we do following the end of catching up. Which I'm not sure if I've mentioned this yet, but catching up's gonna have a total of 6 episodes. This is number 3. So, alrighty, managed to do it. Clutched it out, you know. All right, so yeah, that class was a bit of a doozy. Emphasis on bit. Not literally though. That was computer architecture, networks, and operating systems. That actually had to do with bits. And when I said it was a direct sequel to computer components and operations, I meant it. It picked up right where that class left off. And I love when classes do that. I love when classes do that. Yeah, forgive me for nerding out there. I'm sure that sounds super lame, but it's so cool when you take a class the following semester or year that picks up right where a previous one left off. Like, that happened a few times in high school with, like, history classes and stuff. Why am I getting ahead of myself like this? It happened a few times in history classes in the past where, like, you know, you'd finish your final unit on, like, the end of the American Revolutionary War. And then your next year, the class would pick up right with, like, the Articles of Confederation or something. It's so perfect. Because they don't have to do that, but they do. So yeah, computer components and operations ended with us learning, like, pseudocode and machine code, and I can skip this, and all this stuff, but I do need to make sure I have enough star bits because this is a Hungry Luma mission. Brave Brigade Toad went to search for a Power Star. He won't be okay because I'm not going to go rescue him now. So yeah, it started with that. It started talking about processor data paths a little bit and arithmetic logic units. And that's where computer architecture, networks, and operating systems, or KNOS for short, picked it right where it left off. It felt so good. What didn't feel so good was having to do a homework assignment at the very beginning of that class that basically felt like a non-Speedy Comet version of the Computer Components and Operations final exam, because we we had to do like a full holistic review of the previous class, but it was worth it, you know. And thankfully, unlike Computer Components and Operations, not only was the KNOS material really cool, but it was also taught well. It was taught really well. I don't have enough star bits. One of my speakers is in the way of my star bit count. Let me fix that. There we go. Alright, we need to go collect some more. Shouldn't have much difficulty doing that, though. One more of those and we should be on our way. Can I, like, hit them with my pointer from here? Probably not, right? We'll use that pulse star to get back out of here. So, yeah, I mean, that class was a lot of fun. A lot of my friends were in that class, too, which always makes things better. You know, being able to sit with them and lecture. That's certainly something I missed in the second half of the semester. So, yeah, that class was cool. Fairly straightforward. Lots of assignments. And lots of plug and chug calculations, but really cool concepts, especially when things went online, which definitely helped my motivation. I was just like, coincidentally, I'm now learning about really cool stuff, like even cooler stuff. We started talking about like memory hierarchies and stuff, which for some reason like super intrigued me. Also, you can do insane combos on these Goombas. I think if you get 8, you start getting extra lives, but it's really hard to get a cluster big enough. Especially considering how easy it is for you to die by doing so. Come on! Come on! Yes, dude! Okay, that's all I wanted. I don't think there's enough for it to be worth it, but yeah, you can see like a number appearing on the screen too. And every third one, he'll jump like higher, so. Also watch out for the nostrils. I don't think the Goombas give you star bits if you shake them either, so. Yeah. Yeah, so. Yeah, that class was a lot of fun. It was taught well. The professor was he was a harsh grader, but he was very thorough in his lectures. Did a very good job at making sure people understood things. He was good at explaining. And this is an example of a professor who has a thick accent, but you can still understand him because the stuff he says makes sense. So, you know, it's the thick accent is only a multiplier. It's only if the other stuff is worse. You know, it's only if the other stuff is bad that it makes it worse, you know. Okay, so that takes care of space junk. Let me actually go back to see if there's good egg comets, which I should have done earlier, but that's okay. That's not the way we're supposed to go. There's just like another blue Luma there. There's just like another blue Luma there. It's like, you can't go there yet. Alright, anyway. So, yeah. So Physics 2 was all about okay, there's no comments. We'll go to Rolling Green then. So it was all about electricity and magnetism, and that was pretty much the entire class. Was electricity, magnetism, and like stuff that was tangentially related to it. So we learned about like electric charge and magnetic forces, Maxwell's equations, which didn't come up nearly as much as you'd expect them to. Some basic circuit stuff, but the way that it was taught in Physics 2 paled in comparison to the way that it was taught in a class that I just so happened to be taking at the same time, electric circuits. Where in that class, it's interesting because, like, you think, like, oh, so math is like, you take a math class in college, it's like so pure and theoretical. They go over the derivation of every formula, the proof behind it, unless it's trivial and left as an exercise to the reader, which is just an excuse for them to be lazy and not put it in there. Oh, we have to do motion control tutorial. And all this stuff, and then as you... Alright. Okay. Rolling ball with the Joy-Cons. So far, surprisingly responsive. I think I'm actually going to be more daring than I usually am on these missions, if this is as good as it's going to be. This is what I meant in my E3 reaction when I said it was more responsive than I remember it being. Almost ate my words. That probably would have been my fault anyway, but still. Gotta remember this strategy of jumping to stop momentum. There we go. Okay. I want to get this other question mark coin, which I was too afraid to get in my walkthrough, despite it, being a walkthrough. Ugh. Nice. Ugh. I'm sure a lot of people speed through this mission, but I actually want to prove that I have the balls to get all of these. Ugh. No. Okay. There we go. Stop it off. Alright. Jump to cancel momentum. Good. Heck yeah. Okay. Good. Alright, cancel momentum. Yes! That is so genius. I am a god! Oh, yes. Do I get the spiral? Let's get the spiral. Yes, dude, I dominated that mission. That is actually the first time I've ever... Oh, wait. We're not done yet. There we go. I move my Joy-Cons down here, he just rolls off. Yeah, so you'd expect, like, as you go further, like, oh, physics is more applied, you're not going to do nearly as many proofs or derivations, but you will be doing a lot of, low-level equation stuff, so it takes more work. Not as much as math. And then engineering, you get it to the engineering class, they just give you a lookup table, and you just plug it into a calculator and you're done, right? Yeah, that's not quite how it works. So, I actually learned way more of the math in my engineering circuits class than I did in my Physics 2 class. It was like the roles were reversed. Physics 2 just gave me the formula on a formula sheet for, say, an RC circuit, a resistor-capacitor circuit. In electric circuits, we went over every combination of the differential equation derivation of the equation for an RC circuit. That is the speedy comet for the good egg. Let's go. Just checking how good we are on time right now. Alright. So, yeah, I mean, and the thing about circuits was that actually ended up topping embedded control as the new hardest class I had ever taken. That surprised me, although it was close. It wasn't like it was the hardest by far. It was a tough call between LITEC and circuits, but eventually circuits won out, especially towards the end, especially considering the final, which I thankfully was exempt from because of the choice of lab that I did, where you had a choice between doing something called Alpha Labs and doing something called Omega Labs. Alpha Labs were by the book, follow this procedure, write a lab report. and the lab reports were extremely long for those. Or you do Omega Labs, which are open-ended, entirely student-run, but have to be applicable to the class and its current concepts, and has to be an actual, like, coherent project. Now, I was actually inspired by a project that was done as a design problem on an embedded control exam, and used that as the topic for my Omega Labs project, which was smart window blinds. Window blinds that go up or down depending on the light that they detect. Which actually fit in surprisingly well with the topics that we would end up learning. And there were 3 different milestones within the semester that we had to follow, write lab reports for, proof of concepts, and a manual for the project, which had to be written in a way that somebody who did not make the project could follow the manual and design the project themselves. So it had to be very, very detailed. And we did surprisingly well on that. Well enough, eventually, to get actually exempt from the final, which you do so long as A, you're passing the class, and B, you do well enough on the Omega Labs. And I took one look at that final and I'm like, yeah, we made the right choice. And I'll get to how that final exam worked when I get to the end of this video. So that pretty much covers all of my classes and in a brief overview of how they worked, the important parts of them, with the exception of important parts that'll come up later. So then I actually start going through, and I'm thinking, this is just gonna... Spring 2020 is just gonna be Fall 2019 Rebirth. It's just gonna be the same... It's gonna be me overexerting myself on a daily basis, but I'm an invincible college student, you know? I'll be fine. Not only this, but I was just coming out of a mega hiatus, and I'm just like, well, I'm gonna be uploading videos again. And, well, there is this one thing that Super Smash Bros. Is doing in January of 2020, and that's going to make for a pretty important reaction. It's going to be the last Challenger Pack and the first Fighters Pass. I'm going to gather some friends, we're going to watch this thing. And we all know how that ended up. But this is the first time that they've ever done something like this.
Yeah, it's the
where
first.
It's the present of a demonstration of a character that hasn't been revealed yet.
Revealed ahead of time.
For Joker, Hero, Banjo, and Terry, they've already revealed.
Yeah, they were already revealed ahead of time. We don't know who the hell this is.
Yeah.
Actually, hardly anyone knows what we'll be announcing today, even among Nintendo staff worldwide.
Oh my god!
That's how you get it to not leak.
Yes, that's how you get it to not leak.
Utmost secrecy. Which means other Nintendo staff around the globe will only start making preparations for release after the showcase has been. So it won't be available right away. Please understand.
So like no one fucking knows.
That's good.
Literally,
That's how you get nobody to. That's how you get nobody to leak it.
Wow, really? So let's all share in the fun of getting our hands on the latest information. However, even if you say, that's not the character I was picturing, I hope you don't have any hard feelings.
Well,
I still don't want it to be a Fire Emblem character, but I'll try not to be salty if it is.
You said it was from new franchises, so...
Oh no.
The time has finally come to unleash the forbidden spell of Zaharas upon our enemies!
It looks very Fire Emblem-y. Oh god,
What
it
were you
definitely
thinking,
is.
charging
Oh.
into an enemy's trap? Are you prepared to die?
I am now.
Oh no.
Yep,
I
it
thought
is.
as much. I also do not wish to die.
Wow.
There is no other choice.
That hurts.
You must join
I can understand why they announced, don't worry, there's gonna be more fighters after this.
Oh yeah. Holy shit.
There would be like a couple hundred people watching this if it got many people in.
Oh my god.
Join Smash House. Oh god.
Even the darkness.
Bro, that's kinda cringe.
It's female Byleth?
Oh,
I mean, this is the only version that anybody can get to play as.
to you.
Oh god, what the?
I haven't finished fucking fire!
No, did you see that? She was like, to you!
No
job,
hard
guys.
feelings, Sakurai says, as he adds another fucking Fire Emblem character to the game.
God.
Oh god! Oh god, he trolls us so hard.
Oh, I woke up at 8 a.m. for this.
Yes, there
And it's still buffered.
Perfect time to
you have
buffer.
it. Byleth from Fire Emblem Three Houses is joining the battle.
They couldn't add Rex and Pyra because that game came out recently, but they totally could add a Three Houses character. There's no double
In
standard.
case you're not familiar with Fire Emblem or Three
Right.
Houses, I'll explain.
Right!
That's the reason they gave for not adding Rex and Pyra.
First off,
That's the reason.
what is Fire Emblem?
Oh, believe me, we know.
It's really hard to pronounce in Japanese. The producers...
No hard feelings, he says, as he adds another Fire Emblem character to the
We live in
game.
the worst timeline, Zach.
They don't write.
Yeah. He adds another Fire Emblem character to the game.
There goes Super Smash Bros. Featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry
No,
series.
don't worry, it could happen still. We got more fighters.
No, there's no
Wait,
no
is it the
fucking
only one?
You could say it was a pioneer in the
I don't
genre
know.
of tactical role-playing games.
I don't know why we're learning more about Fire Emblem at this point.
Well,
No hard feelings, he says, as he adds another fucking Fire Emblem character to the game.
But
That
really,
is the
if
smile-
character fell in
that is
love,
the
you
smile
lose
of a
that
man
unit.
who's
They
pranked
gone
us.
and you-
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, imagine if it would, or imagine if he meant by that that the character was
Well,
really
if you
busted,
include Fire Emblem
but
Heroes in the
only had
remakes,
one
but you
stop,
don't
and once
include
he
the
died,
television,
the games were
Tokyo
constant.
Mirage Session
Yes.
started.
You have to repurchase it.
It's repurchase the game.
Let's try something
Download.
That's a whole new meaning of pay to
Say
play.
challenge.
Yes.
So you saw how I was counting in a weird way, right? I was counting in binary.
Let's go Sakurai.
Binary?
Binary. Let's go Kuzman.
So wait, that was a hit?
2 plus 1 equals 3. So this would be 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. You can make 16.
8, 9.
That is hilarious.
So he was hinting. It was just a binary number.
One here.
Holy shit.
And if you use both hands, you can count all the way up to 1023.
That is
Yup,
true.
that's
That is
true.
very true.
You got
I
it,
did
Sakurai.
learn my tech. Yes, we just learned my tech.
You could always
Try it out when you're bored
Try it out when
sometime.
you're bored sometime.
Like when you're waiting for an
What
update.
is-
When we're bored sometime. Nah, that's my job.
Japanese meal version.
Try it
That's
out.
what we do as students here. Wait, hold on.
Grown-up students.
Smash Direct, trending with Fire Emblem. Another Fire
It's
Emblem.
Fire. No hard feelings, Sakurai says.
Imagine if he has a first choice that turns out to be Cold Steel. He's just like, nothing personal, kid.
Nothing personal, kid. Even if the characters
Time for the Fire Emblem fan base to be like, no, these characters are all you need.
Oh no.
Therefore, some of what I'm
I gotta go watch the fight. I gotta go watch that.
Don't worry, guys.
I gotta go watch that Brian
don't-
David Gilbert video.
Why is everyone complaining about Fire Emblem having so many characters? They're underrepresented compared to Mario and Pokemon, the most prolific franchises in video game history.
Yeah.
is a weapon that
As
appears
somebody
in Fire
whose
Emblem
most
Three
wanted
Houses.
character in this game is an
They
anime
look like
swordsman.
bones, and there's a reason for that.
There's many different ways to make anime
First, let's
swordsmen
talk
look
about the
different.
weapon Byleth uses.
Oh my god, they look so
The
similar.
Sword of the Creator.
Oh, don't worry guys, you got your female character.
For their up smash attack,
Is that female Paula?
they'll whip the sword
No, the
upwards
female
and
Byleth
push
is
enemies
in
in the
here.
air.
So.
Yeah.
The weapon
So the question
comes
is he gonna have some sort of meter?
First, we'll go
Right,
for
yeah,
the
they all have some sort
Is the
of gimmick.
first
As you can
DLC
see,
character
they
that
have
we
long
get that
range.
doesn't have a meter?
like so.
A fire.
A Fire Emblem character. That's what it
Marth's
took.
air attack keeps opponents in checkmate, right?
I
So
can already see it now. Byleth is
Also, if you add the upward tilt, it's stronger.
that looks like fucking That looks like a sword version of Bowser Jr.'s brush from Mario Sunshine.
Oh, yeah.
And then he looks like he has Zero Suit Samus up smash. I gotta see if Yao is up so I can tell him to go back to sleep.
Wait, let me tell my roommate to go back to sleep too.
Like this.
Oh! At 8:59 he said, I'm ready for fire with character watching.
Yeah, and then at 9:02 he's just like, I'm a prophet.
Yep, I'm a prophet.
Prophet. Anyone mind getting the door for me?
Returning to the side air from earlier, they have great horizontal.
Yeah, you can go back to quad now. I'll get the door for you.
So this complements it well.
Oh, Yao just comes in at the very end. He's just like, did I miss anything?
Alright. I'm still gonna watch to the end because there's gonna be some stuff at the end, probably about like the other stuff. Maybe, I don't know. Oh, and now when he was doing the counting in binary moment, there was a moment where he flipped us off.
Oh, right.
Wait, really?
Single attack.
Yeah.
So now
That's gonna be me.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, yes, we got another fire character. Fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Byleth's final smash is called Progenitor God Ruptured Heaven. In the original game, there's a move called Ruptured Heaven. This is an enhanced version.
God, that looks so bad. Oh, that looks terrible.
As you can see, you team up with the mysterious selfish.
Like, there are actually some parts of this moveset that look good. That is not one of them.
And fifth colors are, as you can see, reminiscent of the house.
Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 5 color variations.
Will of course understand what I'm referring
That
to.
actually almost works.
That almost works.
It should have been the red one all the way on the
You just
right.
saw earlier.
Yo, Persona 6 confirmed green color scheme.
Yeah.
Which is based on something that occurs in the course of the original game's story.
Oh, thank God for not
Didn't we see
spoiling
this
that. 'Cause I'm
variation
actually gonna
in
play
Final
that.
Here's a list of people watching this direct who care about Three Houses spoilers. That is the worst name for a stage I've ever seen.
For this one, we of course
I
tried
can
to
just
recreate
imagine
the
the
place where you
announcers
spend
like,
most of the game.
Correct monastery!
I can imagine the announcer being like,
The
Byleth?
Eric Monastery is laid out.
Like he asked him in some sort of rhetorical, angry question on the announcers.
These are important booths where you buy all sorts of things, but
Yes, destroy the marketplace. Destroy the establishments of capitalism.
the space will expand to the left and right.
I refuse
Destroy
to
the
support
marketplace.
this current system any longer.
Ah, okay, so that's the variation. It comes with a stage where you can destroy the market, so it's communist market.
Yes.
You end up talking to them. Also, you can break this table.
You can break the table. Wow. Also, you can break the table. Smash players now be like.
Creating this long.
Let's see.
Okay, today we'll have a tag team battle in Squad Strike with the DLC
You
team.
put in all the fire there.
That'll give us
Wow,
precisely
I
5
didn't know you could play as the same character in Squad Strike 5 times.
You can. You can now play it.
Joker died.
Wait, he's...
And Hero!
Oh god. I've never heard the translator have so much...
Banjo!
Banjo.
Oh, this is
You
cringy.
know what it
No.
But it's
is.
terrible.
Basically, I'm trying to defeat all 5 opponents with just the professor here.
Damn, bro.
Oh god, the blue shell. That was one of the first items I ever used in the 3DS demo.
Damn, bro. You got the whole squad
It's not gonna land
dying.
that easily.
Oh, he's gonna use that terrible looking
But it
final
mustn't be
smash.
like-
Marv versus Marv.
Oh, his shield
I
broke.
couldn't waste the chance.
Oh no! Rip.
Oh wait, that was a different character. See, I couldn't tell.
Oh, you really gonna tell?
Yeah, I actually could not tell.
What are you
Oh, here we go.
Corporate.
God, it looks so bad.
Corporate.
Oh, okay, that does look kind of bad. I'm sorry.
I did it.
Oh, it has like the Donkey Kong style effect when it hits him.
I was trying to.
Oh, yeah.
That's really cool.
And it has the
What matters
original
is that I
arcade
won.
sounds.
Good.
Not just the 8.
It even has the same fucking
It can be fun
neutral
to play like
dumbass
this,
expression
especially
on
in
the
tag
Fire
team. So I think it's a good
The
idea
Fire Emblem
to try
characters
and
have
impose
one or two
different
faces.
types of
This?
challenges on yourself.
or
The
this.
Yeah.
Oh, Bee Fighters.
Oh, Bee Fighters.
There might be something interesting here.
Why should we get like more interesting Bee Fighters?
Well, there's obviously going to be some viable ones.
Yeah, obviously. Assassin's Creed.
Dead.
Oh shit!
Oh, Altair.
Ooh.
Altair.
I haven't never heard of Altair.
That does look like Assassin's Creed.
It does.
It is, I think.
Rabbits.
Oh yeah, those existed.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god, rabbits are in Smash.
I'm surprised this didn't already happen.
Rabbits in Smash.
This is perfect.
That is
The Rabbids fandom it. Yo, let's
More
go.
Mega Man Meat
more
Fighters.
Mega Man. Oh, that's X now.
Avoiding the door, yeah.
The opening stage. Hey, let's
Battle
go.
Network.
It's the creepypasta Mega Man.
I remember having an old Battle Network.
That was a long range.
Cuphead. Yo. Siva
What?
Siva Gunner predicted this.
Holy shit!
Includes a music track. Yes.
Oh my god! Nah! This is the hype announcement!
Yeah, I was gonna say. I knew.
I'm downloading this immediately!
Look at the camera.
They knew they had to have something crazy for
Hey,
this
Smash,
sort of
hey,
thing.
Sam's is successful, so let's add Cuphead in Smash.
That was nuts.
Hell yes.
Nuts!
Yes.
Although, of course, somewhere in an alternate universe, Cuphead was the character and Byleth got a Mii costume. But
Me Gunner, though. Me Gunner's been eating.
this is better than
Me Gunner
nothing.
gets the good shit.
We're releasing
Please
Cuphead
tell
costume.
me that is what the Buster sound has been changed
And
to.
for those of you who heard
Oh, yes!
the official song will be added.
Right.
Is that Richter and
The
Dark
color palette
Samus?
for Dark Samus looks pretty good, doesn't it? Dark Samus
Two Echo
characters
Fighters.
are planned
That
to release
truly
on
is the
Friday,
theme of this
January
direct,
17th.
isn't it?
Yeah.
The lineup was Joker, Hero, Banjo and Kazooie, Terry Bogard,
And another fucking
and
Joker. Another Joker.
From more than 70 fighters, only 5 have been added.
More than 70?
But I must say, this game has always been an exceptional experience. And
Yes.
since the roster was already so large to begin with, right from the start, we intended to make the most out of new gameplay mechanics and so on. There really were a lot of new mechanics for
Oh,
this.
Joker is sick.
When we add a new fighter, we don't simply make their attacks or their movements a little different. Instead, we
Make their
try to
looks
offer you a whole new style of play.
The villager's name is Murabito.
As I stated, we'll continue to release more DLC fighters down the line. I had thought that 1 or 2 might suffice, but, well, have a look.
Oh boy.
He said I thought of 1 or 2 might suffice.
So, yeah. Is it another pass?
It's gonna be a second pass. It's a second pass!
Second pass.
Oh, wait,
What?
6?
6 of them.
There's 6 more fighters!
Looks like there will be 1 more fighter than last time.
What did he say?
The people in the background laughing.
What did he say?
He's like, there's one more fighter than last time.
On the date shown, so please keep an eye out. And now that it's official, we intend to move ahead with development. Of course, like last time, the contents will remain unknown for now, and I'm personally very sorry that
Please give us another
attempted
limited
release
time
by
for
Rock
Rock
2
Plant style
and the details
fighter.
have yet to be
Yes.
revealed. Like last
make
time,
that one
we
Dante.
very-
Please only free purchase if you're okay
Yeah,
with
he's
that.
giving the same disclaimer as he did in November
Furthermore,
2018.
the new additions have already been decided.
The contents have already been decided, so if another Fire Emblem comes out in the future, we shouldn't expect another one.
We shouldn't expect another one.
Smart.
There's definitely a fucking
But I
Pokemon
still
character in
hope you
there.
look forward to it.
That's a big possibility.
There's definitely a
We're
Pokemon
also
character in
including a
there.
bonus with Fighters Pass
Inteleon?
1 and 2.
All the no. No,
It's a Chinese Pokemon in
If
there.
the characters have already been decided.
There's a bonus.
Ooh. Is that a... Whoa.
It's a Mii Fighter costume for Mii Sword Fighters, the ancient soldier gear from the
Okay.
Legend of Zelda:
Okay.
Breath of the Wild.
Nice.
This will not be for sale individually, so it can only be acquired
So
as
this
part
is
of Fighters
the
Pass
this is
Volume
basically the Rex and Pyro Mii costume of this one.
Yeah.
Because that was the pre-purchase bonus from last time. Or something like that.
Rob just gets
Lastly,
It's been reported that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the highest selling
Yep.
fighting game.
Yeah.
Ooh. I like this.
Personally, I don't know if it counts as simply a fighting game, but I guess it's seen as a fighting game around the world.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Sakura, what are you doing?
So humble about it.
Although, I still don't know if it can really be called just a fighting game.
You said just a
I
fighting
feel
game.
like it's become more than a fighting game. Some sort of
Oh, okay.
celebration.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought he was gonna say something like it's a platform fighter. It's a party game.
No.
I
No.
feel deep into the five
No.
days.
Now we get to see all the people on the timeline. It was like, Sakura, is it a fighting game?
No, it's a salt mine.
The first Fighters Pass just
Ah shit, here we go again.
Oh, it's over. Okay. Ugh.
Nice.
That was alright.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching.
Oh my god, Sakurai dabbed?
Yeah, I was gonna say he dabbed on us, dude. Oh boy, that was. I mean, I'll be honest. Smash has always had a history of ending on a really shitty note. You know, Smash 4, the final presentation they had revealed a Fire Emblem character no one asked for, and then all of one character from the ballot who, according to data miners, didn't even win the ballot. So there was that. And on top of that, there was that EVO 2018 walkout that happened after 2 Bayonetta players made it into Grand Finals. So, you know, the game's legacy just tends to be... it doesn't end well. And so I shouldn't have been surprised when the Fighters Pass ended on such a low note, because they already had everyone's money. They could do whatever they wanted for the final Challenger Pack. And as of the date of recording this, there is one character left in the second Fighters Pass, and I have no confidence in it being a good character. I have incredibly low expectations for it. I think it's gonna be... well, let's see what level they'll stoop to. I'll reserve my comments for when it actually gets announced, but you heard it here first. Don't be surprised if the final Challenger Pack sucks. And you know, that should have honestly set the tone for the rest of the calendar year, because nothing got better. It really didn't. So, in January of 2020, I decided, for the first time in many years actually, I'm gonna go and get the flu shot. You know, people have predicted, and those predictions are starting to come true, that this is gonna be a pretty bad year for the flu. I don't want to get it while I'm, you know, every day overexerting myself, leaving my immune system particularly vulnerable to those kinds of attacks by getting not enough sleep every night for a healthy, at the time, 20-year-old guy. So, you know, I figured I'm gonna get the flu shot. And I did. And then late January rolls around, and... well, let's just say the antibodies were asleep at the job, because they did not help at all. In the first year I decide, you know what? I'm gonna try and protect myself from the flu, and it doesn't work. You know, I am very, very pro-vaccination. As soon as I was able to get the COVID vaccine, I got it. Like, I was not waiting on that. I'm all for vaccines as long as they fucking work, you know? What average does the flu vaccine usually have? 20%? I have better luck landing a fucking sheer cold. With metronome. Not actually, but it certainly feels that way. And it certainly felt that way that week. So, yeah. that week in January. Well, actually, I should probably start with the previous week. So the previous week actually started, I should start with the weekend before then. So, I was doing some work for the TV station that I was taking part of, and doing some editing, doing some recording some sports games, basically requiring me to be up almost every hour of the day. I think I went a stretch of 30 hours without sleeping at one point. And all of this crazy stuff. So I was definitely leaving myself open to it all, but that's obviously not an excuse for the flu shot to not fucking work. So, and of course you gotta combine this with the schoolwork load that I was experiencing. So all of this is going on, and you know, it's Sunday morning, and I wake up, and I had just stayed up, actually not that late by my standards so far that semester, watching Genesis 7, the Super Smash Bros. Tournament. And, you know, I was screaming and shouting and going nuts, and I had lost my voice a little bit by the end of the night. And so I wake up Sunday morning, and my voice still feels a little funny. I'm just like, alright, you know, that's to be expected. I mean, I was screaming a lot last night, but I was a little uneasy because I had remembered this is also how the week of me being sick in fall 2019 started. A night of me screaming and shouting over something exciting. Previously, that was a Pokemon Club meeting, which was actually the birth of our Pokemon Club mascot, a T-posing Hitmonlee, who goes by the name of No Knees. This time around, it was Genesis 7. And so I woke up that Sunday morning. I'm like, my voice feels a little funny. This is how it started last semester, but it might be different this time. I take a shuttle to the center of campus. I meet up with my lab group for circuits because we need to talk about what we're going to do for our lab since the first milestone deadline is coming up. We're meeting, trying to get an operational amplifier circuit to get that working, get some LEDs lit. And things are going well. We actually managed to get it working. It required us to daisy chain some voltage sources in a rather unconventional way, which was pretty funny. I'm gonna stall for time, so we're actually gonna go and grab these because I'm already in Battle Rock and I haven't even hit the COVID part yet. So, alright, there we go. Things are going good. And one other thing that I was doing that time around was I was setting up my position as a Computer Science 1 mentor, which was going to be my first paid position in college. Not my first paid position in general, that was in summer 2019, but my first paid position as a mentor in college, as my one in fall 2019 was unpaid, it was for credit. So I was setting that up. I needed to do additional forms in order to actually get the money sorted out. I needed to get like my passport and stuff. So I was getting that sorted out. And by the end of the day, my throat hasn't gotten better. It has gotten worse. And I'm starting to get a little worried, but at the same time, I had finished everything that I needed to finish for that day, you know. And so I figured I'm gonna chill tonight. I'm gonna watch the finals of Genesis 7, which I did. And I watched Zane win Super Smash Bros. Melee. I watched Mars win Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It was one of the first Ultimate Grand Finals that I was actually going nuts over, partially because Mars played fucking amazingly, and also partially because he's from New England, which meant I was contractually obligated to root for him because New England doesn't have a lot of representation in Smash. So that was exciting, and it certainly got me screaming probably more than I should have, given the condition of my throat. I wake up on Monday, it's about as bad as it was before, and I'm like, well, at least it didn't spike in shittiness. I spoke too soon. Also, by the way, I love this mission, breaking into the Battle Rock. This is my favorite one we're doing today. So, Oh man, that transition from the battle station theme into space fantasy or Cosmo of Illusions or whatever it's called. So good. Alright. Whoa! There we go. Nice. Yeah, so I wake up on Monday and, you know, I'm able to make it through the lectures that day. Actually, on Mondays and Thursdays, I had 6 straight hours of lecture. It was like I was back in school, except I didn't have time to go and eat lunch between those lectures, so sometimes I bring food with me, sometimes I wouldn't. Most of the time I wouldn't be thinking about food. I'd just be thinking about, holy shit, I need to copy this down before he goes to the next slide. That was my mentality. I'm like, if I don't copy this down in time, then it's gonna show up on an exam and I'm gonna fail. And you never know until you decide to miss a slide, and there it is. It walks through the double doors, or maybe it's just like that Tom and Jerry meme of Tom walking in. I love that shot of the Luma. This part's so cool. So yeah, I get to the final lecture, which was a lecture where our professor for circuits, best professor I've ever had, she is showing us an example of a previous exam. And the exams in that class were known for being infamously difficult. It's one of the few classes where the exams are actually harder than the homeworks. So you legit have to grind the ever-living fuck out of back tests if you want to last a chance, which I did. And there were a couple of concepts that we were familiar with by that point. One of the big ones was a technique called mesh analysis, which allows you to solve circuits with lots of unknown values, get those unknown values together. Oh, I got the one-up mushroom as well. And, you know, get all of that set up. And then... come on, my aim! Okay. No deaths yet! I just heard like a beeping sound. I hope we're not running low on space on anything. Let me check. Yeah, we're good. I'm always paranoid. I truly, truly am. Alright, so I just remember because we were in that class and there's this thing called a super mesh, which sort of adds and subtracts an unknown from the circuit, but requires the equations to be way more complicated in exchange for you being able to solve way more complicated circuits. And there was this double super mesh with a giant L-shaped circuit, and we were freaking out over seeing it. Then she scrolls down to the next page and there's another one on the same exam. There's 2 L's! There's 2 L's! We were fucking losing our minds. So that sort of got my mind off of... hold up. There we go. That mechanic hasn't been taught to you yet, but... I don't care. Okay. Wow, gotta go fast. Managed to not get hit there. Okay, so... Yeah, that got my mind off of how shitty I felt physically at that point. But I still had to do physics homework that night. And I did, and it took me almost the entire night. So I had to be deprived of sleep because the following day was an 8 a.m. for physics too. I had to be deprived of sleep while already sick. I wake up and I just barely miss the shuttle to make it to the lecture hall. And I actually tried running up a shortcut, up a shortcut to try and catch the shuttle. Didn't do it. Had to walk the rest of the way. I make it to lecture. I'm out of breath, and everything on my body hurts. You know, by this point, I'm getting like all of the symptoms. Behind my eyeballs, I'm getting aches. My legs hurt so bad I can barely walk. My throat feels awful. My stomach feels awful. I have a headache. I'm barely coherent, like, mentally. But I have to sit through a physics lecture. And because Murphy's Law is a piece of shit, that day just so happened to be the day, much like computer components and operations in the previous semester. The day I am the sickest the entire semester is the day I have to do the hardest Physics 2 lab. And lo and behold, my partner and I, God fucking bless my Physics 2 lab partner, by the way. Oh my God, he put up with so much of my bullshit that semester. God bless that man. He was one of my Litech lab partners, so I knew he would be good. But yeah, he was a virtuous man, that's for sure. I am indebted to him, I'll put it that way. So we didn't make it through, and then I have to go essentially right from there. I have like an hour break, which I use to hydrate myself, because I know at the very least while I'm sick, I need to make sure I stay hydrated. Then I have to go and see if I have actually gotten the forms processed yet to do my computer science mentoring. I hadn't. They weren't ready yet. And to be completely honest, I'm glad they weren't, because I was in no condition to run a lab block that day. So I was more than content with stumbling back to my dorm room and sleeping for 2 hours, because I had enrichment seminar later that day. Thankfully, it was one of the easy enrichment seminar blocks, which was answer 2 multiple choice questions. You can leave now. And I slept the rest of the day because I didn't have anything that was due that night or the following early morning. With the exception of an algorithms lab, which had a lab block specifically dedicated to it. Oh, I didn't know you couldn't move during this part. I didn't realize that was a cutscene. Okay, that's kind of funny. Not that it would be the smartest idea in the world to try and move off of that, but you know. I thought that they would let you. I guess they wouldn't. It's probably good that they don't. I'm sure some sweaty speedrunner out there is angry that you can't move there. Oh god, it automatically changed gravity. Can I wall jump off those? I don't think you can. Cool Marios don't look at explosions. You can see Top Maniac floating up there. Alright, so all that's happening, and I'm starting to get worried, because I'm like, so far, each day has only gotten worse. And today was really bad. If it's, and I'm like, if it's worse, when I wake up tomorrow, I'm probably gonna have to check into a hospital. It's that bad. I wake up Wednesday morning, and I'm feeling better. Probably because I got a lot of sleep that night. And I was able to do something I haven't been able to do recently, which was sleep for 8 hours without waking up in the middle of it. Oh, almost got hit there. It'd certainly be a shame if my first death is to Top Maniac's Daredevil run. I died on the Top Maniac's Daredevil run twice in my walkthrough, in fairly comical ways. So, maybe I can match those this time around. Or maybe not. Let's hope not. There's the third Battle Rock star. Yes. By the way, third Battle Rock star. Still haven't gotten to COVID yet. Unless that week I did have COVID, which is unlikely. I don't think COVID was in the US yet. And if it was, it probably wasn't on the East Coast yet. So, it was probably just a bad breakthrough case of the flu because the vaccine didn't work. So I wake up Wednesday, things are better. I'm actually able to go to classes. I'm able to conduct myself mentally. We'll do the secret star. And things are going great. Things are going better that Thursday. And better that Friday. And I walk out of that Physics 2 lab block Friday, and I'm a little annoyed because the lab was kind of bullshit that day. Most of the labs were bullshit. It's one of those by the books labs, but the book that you're by is like a shitty lab manual that's years old and put through Google Translate a million times to the point where all the words are so vague you can't understand them, and you have to annoy the lab TAs with a question every 10 seconds. Yeah, it's one of those labs. And so, Physics 2 lab block is over, and on my mind I'm like, alright, so my first computer science office hours are that day. I finally get to run office hours. After all this, I've always wanted to run office hours of my own as a mentor, and I finally get to do it. And so I go to pick up my passport. I got an overnight delivery specifically for this because it was important. And so I go to the mail center to pick up my passport. Mail center's closed. They chose active mail center hours as a time to move the mail center from one building to another. Active mail hours, where people need to go to pick up their mail. They chose those as a time to... Wow, I've never blown up a chomp like that before, I don't think. They chose that time to say, let's inconvenience the fuck out of everybody and move it and prevent people from being able to pick up their mail. I was in fucking disbelief that I couldn't pick up my passport, and because of that, couldn't do my office hours that day. So that was one of the worst weeks of my life. Upon realization of all this fucking bullshit, I basically just retired to my room for the rest of the day and essentially slept for 24 hours straight. I woke up still feeling really angry and honestly didn't really fully recover from feeling angry. Possibly ever. I'm still angry about that. If anybody knows who was responsible for that decision to move the mail center during active mail hours, let them know. I just want to talk. Also let them know that I'll be open carrying. Would you believe that's actually the second worst decision my school made that year? Oh, yeah, stay tuned for next episode. Oh boy. Oh, speaking of things that make me angry, this star sucks. Thankfully, there's only like 3 missions in this game that I don't like. But this is one of them. But now I know the trick that you have to throw them at those lights. I already knew that they take exactly 10 seconds to explode. But I did not know the trick of throw it at the lights. And I might actually be throwing this right now. Yeah, it's we failed this one. It's okay. This doesn't count as a death. Yeah, we messed this one up. That's okay. They knew this one sucked because they don't kill you for failing at this one. You know what? This is good. I get to stall for time. So yeah, that was a pretty goddamn awful week. In terms of like actual things that were happening, you know, things started to rebound. I was able to pick up my passport from the new mail center that Monday. That was one of the reasons I was pissed off, by the way, was because I knew that not only did this mean I couldn't pick it up that day, but I couldn't pick it up until Monday. Come on! Explode, you piece of shit! Oh! Okay. We'll do it again, don't worry. Alright. I guess we have to be faster. I'm not looking forward to doing the Dreadnought one. Oh, should I just reset right now? Should I just reset right now? Yeah, I probably should. Anyway, so, yeah, that week was a week that happened. I was not a happy man that week, but things got better. I was able to pick up my passport and actually run office hours. Damn it. And, you know, then it was time for a wave of exams. And that wave of exams was pretty intense. The standard for a lot of my classes up to that point was 3 exams and a final. 2 of my classes that semester actually had 2 exams and a final, which meant fewer exams, which had its benefits, but also meant each exam was worth more towards your grade. Less room for error. Speaking of very little room for error. Okay, come on. Alright, we got this. We got this by the ass! For good measure. Yes! Okay. Alright. Yeah, give me that power star. So, wave of exams rolls around, and if I remember correctly, my first one was Physics 2, and it did not go well. I was fucking saved by absolutely fluking the free response questions, because I did horribly on the multiple choice. I should have studied more. I didn't. But I was able to use techniques I learned in circuits, in my engineering circuits class, which was taught better than Physics 2, to then aid me in my Physics 2 exam, and managed to completely ace it. That problem at least. And then the other open response, I literally got 9 out of 12 points on it for like writing down 2 equations and not doing anything else. So I got super lucky on those. It was so funny. I remember looking at that, I'm like, a 29 out of 32? I wrote down 2 equations. One of my other friends is like fucking high-fiving me. Also, I love the fact that the planet is in the shape of Top Maniac as well. What if I just long jumped into the electric currents? That would be funny, I think. Alright, let's see if I die. Because now there's no room for error, so... this could be the first death of catching up. So, the next exam was my first circuits exam, and I knew this one would be hard, and it was. And I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, of all of the material that is going to be tested on this exam, I'm confident in everything except for stuff regarding current dividers. I understand everything except for the concepts of current dividers. No! Oh my god! Come on! Yes! 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 Let's go! Redemption from my walkthrough. 0 deaths, Top Maniac. Daredevil. Whew. Would you believe that's the most amount of times I've died on a Daredevil run in my walkthrough? I first tried the Bouldergeist Daredevil Comet and the Major Burroughs Daredevil Comet. At least I think I first tried the Major Burroughs one. I know I first tried the Bouldergeist one, which is infamously hard. But I nailed it. Yeah, that was a very happy day when I managed to do that. Like, you could hear me in the video, I was very happy. I was happy for the rest of the day. See if we can move that prankster comet. So, I was like, alright, I'm good on everything except current divider. The first exam problem out of 4 exam problems that are all worth 25 points is using 2 different methods derive the current divider equation. I'm just like, oh, why? It's always the one that you don't know. Surprisingly, I managed a pretty damn good grade on that exam. Some of my other friends did not fare quite as well. So, I'm surprised that I did as well as I did, and I certainly won't complain about it. Then there was a Kanos exam, which I walked out of feeling terrible. I'm just like, wow, I did horrible on that. It was so long and hard and so oddly specific about things that I didn't expect to be on there that were like one line in a lecture slide. And there was a bunch of stuff on back exams that I thought would be there and there wasn't. It was still a fair exam, all things considered. It was just rough. Well, he applied a curve to it that was insane, and I ended up having a 91 because of it. So, you know. Also, I need to go fast because this is a cosmic comet. Probably could have gone faster if I went up. That's okay. Alright, I'm doing the baby way of doing this. There's way faster ways of doing this, but that's okay. There are no flip bugs that can harass us when we do this, so... Get me! My voice doesn't go high enough to do that. Just dodge the honey and we got ourselves a victory. So, the wave of exams ends. There's also the algo exam, which was funny because it was open book and a copy from the back tests. So, all that's happening. In the midst of all this, there's a lot of assignments I need to do for a lot of my classes. And I start to get behind on the assignments and also on other things that I want to do personally. I ended up deciding to scrap the final Challenger Pack reaction. I wasn't proud of it, and obviously I've shown clips of it in this video, but that's about it from it. Wait, no, there's nothing left to do here. Yeah, okay. Let's go back. Oh, you actually press the B button. I was in press the B button like it is on the Wiimote mode, and I realized, oh, it's actually the B button, which makes you jump in normal gameplay in this, which is fucking idiotic beyond belief. So I end up making this list of things that I want to accomplish, and I tell myself, okay, so what I'm gonna do is, over spring break, I am going to work on this list of things that I want done. And it included getting a lot of different assignments done, including some semester-long presentations, you know, get those out of the way so I don't have to worry about them. And then, you know, all will be well. And if I have additional spare time, I'll use that to return from another hiatus. And I decided I'm going to start that on spring break. First, I'm going to study for this other exam that I have, because I had one more exam before going back, and it was a 1 exammer. It was in Professional Development 1, and it was the only exam in that class. And I managed to do well on it. Which was good, because I studied a lot for it. And the Thursday before spring break hits, I walk into Circuits lecture, and am I dead? Okay, we're living! Thank you, Mario. But I'm living! No! That's what I get for being greedy about Starbits. The first death is in the shrinking satellite? Oh, no way, dude. I'm not gonna edit that out, but that's unfortunate. No, it's okay, it doesn't count because I got a 1-up mushroom. It really is. Yeah, you can really spam there. I love the way that you, like, go around this planet as it generates the musical notes. Okay, this is the one that just goes up. I think the one in the Seaside Galaxy is the one that goes da 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 da, as opposed to da 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 da. Okay, so I walk into lecture on Thursday for circuits, and our teacher's like, okay, so I've updated the syllabus, and we're like, oh no. And she's like, for the coronavirus, and we're just like, oh no. What if I just did this for the rest of the episode? This is a fun visual, you know. No seizure warning needed, nothing like that. And she's just like, all right, so just in case, I made this coronavirus plan for this class, and I have everything under control in case things go crazy and you don't come back. Some of us were like, well, it's nice that you have this plan, but I don't think anything bad's gonna happen. Other people were like, we're glad that you have this plan. And there were a select few who were like, do you know something we don't? I was, at the time, actually part of the, it's fine, nothing will really happen group. I was part of that group. I was, yeah, nothing's gonna happen. You know, I'm glad you made this plan, but it's not really needed. So we go home, and I had been hearing rumors about other professors gearing up for things going online. And I start to get a little worried. So we get home. I get home. I can't remember if I took like a bus or anything, or if I was actually driven home or anything like that. Regardless, I get home, and only a few days into spring break, we get an announcement that spring break has now doubled in length. And that the next 2 weeks of school will be conducted online. And we're given instructions on software that we have to install in order to take those classes online. And you can just imagine the thoughts that are going through my head right now. And, you know, I had always thought about, like, how terrible I would be in an online school environment. Oh, by the way, I mentioned that was my first death in Hari Scurry, Shrinking Satellite. We're probably gonna have more deaths right now, because this star is hard. If I want to attempt this again, I'll be very impressed. I do seem to have much better aim with these sling pods than a lot of people I've watched before. I'm able to gauge things a lot better. The question is, can I time them? The answer to that was almost a no. Get that one up, let's go. Oh, that was risky. And now it's just pull star your way to a checkpoint, which is really nice. I don't usually go for that one up. I'm being really greedy this episode. Probably because I know I'm probably going to have to stall for time since I'm just getting to COVID now. So, yeah, we start going through spring break, and at first I'm just like, well, I hate the fact that we're going to have to go online, but at the same time, the fact that spring break has been extended means I can actually go to NeoFan64's birthday party. And I was planning on going there, and I was planning on, you know, sleeping over at Super Dynamic Gaming's place with the guys. After that, you know, I had a list of things that we could do together. I don't think I was planning on recording anything with them. I was just planning on hanging out with them, and doing stuff. Wow. Okay. And you know, I was excited to do that. So, and this was also around the time I was finally starting to actually do lots and lots of errands, like actually on my own. No, dude! No! I was trying not to mention anything, but I was just about to fluke that mission on my first try. No fucking way, dude. Oh, no. That is the most tragic thing that has happened to me in a video game, probably since I died at 96% on Acropolis. Oh, that hurts so bad. My soul has been destroyed. Well, At least I can offset that by talking about worse things that happened to me, right? Like 2020? Yeah. Don't die again, Mario. Hello. Hello, Mario. Please do not die again, Mario. Hello, Mario. Did you know that black holes will actually kill you? I know you love spaghetti, but black holes will turn you into spaghetti, and not in the tasteful way that you might be thinking of, Mario. Anyway, so I'm actually starting to do errands on my own. It's nice, and I end up running all these different errands on my own. And, you know, I'm starting to feel independent again. Things are looking up. You know, I'm starting to feel self-sufficient. It's a big confidence boost. You know, my LinkedIn is starting to get noticed. I'm starting to feel, you know, confident in myself, and I kind of needed that. It almost happened again. Okay, one death in the Slingpod Galaxy. Not that bad. Not that bad. Pretty much everybody I've seen has done worse. Tell you what, we'll Starbit grind there to stall for time, since I did so well. So, I do all those errands, I come home, and my parents treat me like a living, walking biohazard. Despite the fact that there was no risk in anything that I did. Especially since we were on the East Coast, which at the time was nowhere near an epicenter for the virus, but I was starting to get signs that people were going to be overreacting about it. And the pandemic was going to turn into, you can't do anything, despite it being safe. And I started to get a little worried. I still ended up going to Neofan64's birthday party. Got him a pack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Some of my other friends also did. I need to message him to see if he has or one of my friends has the footage of him actually opening the cards and getting this one really good card that they all freaked out about. See, I don't play Yu-Gi-Oh, but a lot of my friends do, and they're very into it. So yeah, let's get a grand start. So we do the party, I come home, and I'll spare you the details, but let's just say, due to circumstances out of my control, I was unable to spend the night at Super Dynamic Gaming's place with Neofan64. And you see, I was not angry about this because I was unable to do it that day. I was angry about this because this confirmed my realization. This confirmed my realization that this is not going to be a 15 days to flatten the curve thing. This is going to be a year-long thing, and it is going to ruin every prospect I have at enjoying life. And boy, was I right. All of my fears, one by one, were confirmed. They were not unfounded in the anger that I felt that day. Let's just say this pandemic has taught me, yes, you can be too careful. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and be some sort of like ridiculous anti-masker or something. You know, that's not reasonable, you know. It makes sense to cover your face, to prevent germs from spreading, to prevent the virus from spreading. Every little bit helps. That makes sense. Okay, that's fine. Alright? A lot of the other restrictions did not make sense, though. And it certainly didn't help that before restrictions started to actually take place, we were lied to about the effectiveness of masks so that we wouldn't buy them in mass and cause a shortage of them. They could have just told us, hey, don't buy them, the hospital workers need them. No, they literally just said, hey, they don't work, so don't buy them. They couldn't just trust us to not buy them. They had to lie. Which, you know, gave anti-maskers ammunition. This is the opposite of what you wanted to do. So that probably extended the pandemic by a few months. As people defiantly not wearing masks because they were initially told that they didn't work. And then suddenly the story changed when it was convenient. One of many examples of mismanagement and terrible restrictions and things that shouldn't have happened. So, I was not angry because of circumstances that day. I was angry because I knew that this was going to be part one of a dozens part long series of having to do things the shitty way because of somebody else's bad decisions. And again, I was right. But I couldn't entirely focus on that because I had one more week of spring break to then prepare for what had initially been 2 weeks of online school and had then become remainder of the semester is now online. And yeah, that was pretty bad. And so for this episode and the next 2 episodes, which are all going to cover online school semesters, I'm going to give a unique countdown of the top 5 reasons why online school is bad. There are some people who seem to actually enjoy the online school and the online ability, and the changes that came with that. To those people I say, more power to you. I hope you use that power to get counseling because you're a sociopath. So let's grab this grand star, and I'm gonna queue up my top 5 reasons why online school is bad, part 1. Alright, let's begin it while we're doing this grand star animation. Number 5, time zone differences make things impossible. This is particularly relevant to someone like me, who goes to a school that people come to from all around the world. One of my lab partners was from the Mountain Times for circuits. One of my lab partners was from the Mountain Time Zone. One of them's from the Pacific Time Zone, and I'm from the Eastern Time Zone. Which is actually look at all those galaxies we discovered. Which is actually kind of tame compared to the time zone situations other people have to experience. Can you imagine if I was unfortunate enough to have to try and coordinate meeting up with somebody on a call for a lab who is in China while I'm in Eastern Time Zone? You imagine having to do that? Now, to be fair, over the course of that semester, the next few semesters, I started to become nocturnal, and I never really unbecame nocturnal, as it is currently 4:22 a.m. while I'm recording this. But that kind of still proves my point, you know? Regardless, it requires one person, at least one person, to have an unhealthy sleep schedule. Well, guess what? We all had unhealthy sleep schedules. It's just that they were magnified, and things got worse. So that's number 5. Number 4, let's see. Ah, yes, number 4. Particularly relevant right now. I am at the mercy of my home's internet connection. Before it was, oh, the learning management system is down. We'll give you an extension on that assignment. The campus Wi-Fi was down. You know, that's not your fault. We're gonna extend that assignment. Your dorm, there was some sort of issue with that. We'll cover that. Now it's, if your internet cuts out in the middle of a live lecture, or God forbid an exam, Well, you're shit out of luck. And, well, in the past, when I was home, I had my laptop in my room. And my room is very, very far away from the router in this house. I think, geometrically, it's actually the farthest room in the house from the router. So I was in a very bad position as far as internet goes that semester, and I had to move to another room in order to get work done. Which was not convenient, let's just say that. I was not happy about that. And that certainly didn't solve it perfectly. That just made the internet a little more consistent. Alright, let's see. Ah, yes. Number 3. It rewards cheating, with the only solution to this to be... What the hell just happened? I, like, got burned and then bounced right back into the sling pod. That was weird. Alright, I'm gonna get that one up, we're gonna grab these star bits, and I'm gonna die again, and we're gonna do that repeatedly. Because that's how we're gonna grind star bits. Okay. Alright. This death doesn't count, by the way, we're doing it on purpose. So... And I'm not gonna make the mistake other people have, which is, oh, I have 131 star bits, I'm gonna exit back. No, you have to beat the mission with the star bits. I know that. So yeah, I don't think it's any secret, really, that it's a lot easier to cheat in an online class than it is in an in-person class. Oh, I'm dead. Okay, that one counts. That was on me. Although it is a star bit grinding mission, so I don't really know if I should... I'm not gonna count that. Fuck you, I'm making the rules, I'm not counting that. So yeah, I think everybody's aware of the fact that it's... Wow, okay. I was just really bad at pressing pull stars, apparently. So yeah, very easy to cheat in online classes, and... I think my camera is interfering with the sensor of this a little bit. So, yeah, it's you're not only are you at the mercy of your own internet connection, you're also at the mercy of whatever the least academically honest person in the class decides to do. Because if a group of people find an illegitimate way to do an assignment, then, and because you're online and can do that, or an exam, and you can just have things off to the side that you normally wouldn't have, you're automatically put at a disadvantage if you don't cheat. And that's what all the people who actually want to do the class legitimately feel like. They feel like they're going to score below average if they try to do the class legitimately. So that, in and of itself, promotes more cheating. It's like a self-exponential loop. It's like an infinite feedback loop of cheating, creating more cheating, which creates more cheating, which creates more cheating. It's terrible. So what's the solution? Instill the most intrusive anti-cheat mechanisms imaginable that then create the potential for false positives that can screw over people who are actually doing the class legitimately. That's really the only solution, is to have an anti-cheat system that oversteps its boundaries. Now, thankfully, my college has been really, really good with not doing that. They have frankly, they've done a pretty bad job on a lot of other things recently, but they've done a very good job at not instituting ridiculous anti-cheat mechanisms. Now, a lot of that in general is just that a lot of the professors are tenured or tenure track, have a lot of experience in sniffing out something that seems a little suspicious. They don't need software to do that for you. A human's always better at that kind of stuff anyway. I've heard some horror stories from other colleges, though, of, you know, like, to the point where, like, in a lot of this, like, anti-cheat software, you have to install it on your computer, and your computer is literally like, hey, this is intrusive. This is, like, literal malware that you're installing on me. Why are you doing this? And so, yeah, essentially, a lot of colleges apparently had, like, quite literally had their students install mandatory malware. And apparently there's, like, exam proctoring software that, like, dings you as suspicious because you looked to the side. Like, cool, yeah, I guess if you look to the side, you might be looking at an illegitimate paper that's helping you and shouldn't be. I get that. What if there was a knock on your door, though? If you're taking an exam from home, what's more likely? What should you assume, at the very least? Should you what should you assume if you see somebody on the webcam go like this? Should you assume, oh, that person might have heard a knock on their door. Maybe one of their parents called their name. Maybe there's a doorbell ringing. Their computer made a weird sound. I don't know, maybe their cat's meowing at them. Happened to me a lot. Or, it's got a Post-it note on his computer screen and fell into a black hole and died. You know, what are you gonna assume, really? Really? Yeah, I'm just glad that I didn't have to deal with any of that bullshit. So instead, there was a bit more of a fair punishment, or a fair solution to the anti-cheat mechanisms that my professors took, which was, instead of taking the easy way out by installing intrusive proctoring mechanisms, they essentially had to reinvent the wheel on what it meant to write an exam for that kind of a class, and actually put effort into the exam design to make it online proof. Now, this was to varying degrees of success, but it certainly was a hell of a lot better than having to do what other schools did, that's for sure. Oh, I almost made that. By the way, despite the amount of times I've died, I have like more than 10. I've gained like 10 lives more at the very least than when I came in with here. So yeah, you can grind like crazy here and you do not have to worry about getting a game over if you continuously get star bits and get that 1-up that's right there. So yeah, a lot of the exams were like take-home style. They were like 10 times longer, but also gave you 10 times the time. What's funny is, though, sometimes they try to, like, masquerade as exams that would have been given to you unchanged if things weren't online. Like, really? Really? You're telling me that this 25-page exam was designed to be taken in 2 hours? Yeah? You're telling me that? Oh, but you're giving me 7 hours anyway? You're giving me 7 hours to do this designed to take 2 hours exam? Yeah, sure, buddy. I'm sure that this exam is designed to take 2 hours. For the record, every time that I was given an exam like that, it took me like exactly the amount of time that they told me, that they gave me, from start to finish. Like if they gave me 7 hours, it would take 7 hours. In Kanos, there are a couple 12-hour exams, and they took me 12 hours. We would submit them usually to this website called Gradescope. Oh, by the way, I want to try this. Yes, it makes the sound. Okay, so I want to see if I can launch myself back into the Polestars. So I probably can't. Yeah, so some of the exams are pretty crazy, but it also led to some actual kind of like masterpiece exams where they were just designed with students being able to take their time in mind. So you sort of ran into the opposite problem that I did in my first Kanos exam, which is now you have to study everything, but you don't have to worry about studying something that won't be on the exam anymore. Because everything's gonna be on the exam. It's gonna be everything you learned. And that's how a lot of my final exams were. They did not hold back. But they also didn't hold back on giving us time, which was nice. Number 2, doing schoolwork at home with a family is excruciating at best. It is extremely distracting having to live with family members while doing college work. Often with family members who don't understand the workflow of college and expect you to be on their sleep schedule regardless of what your assignments are due. And then if an assignment is ever really hard and requires more time and requires you to stay up, oh, it's your fault. It's your fault that this assignment is unexpectedly difficult. And you're the one who's being irresponsible. And it takes a toll emotionally on you. It really does. You know, one of the reasons that I liked being on campus is I don't have to worry about that bullshit. So yeah, that one was painful, and it sort of comes as a microcosm of some of the other problems, but it was worth mentioning on its own. And number 1. Face-to-face communication is non-existent and makes things feel pointless. The only way you can, the most direct way you can communicate with somebody else in online school is through a video call, which often has terrible video quality, terrible microphone quality, and if it's a group call, like a lecture for example, students can't have discussions between each other because only one person can talk, otherwise you can't hear anybody. There's no whispering to the person sitting next to you. There's no exchanging like, hey, what did you think of that problem? What'd you get for that problem? You know, there's none of that, because it's not possible. It's ask a question to the professor during lecture, or keep your mouth shut. Which also means that professors are less likely to be able to connect with their students on that level, which also kind of hurts professors, because they also feel like their work is more robotic and pointless. And I felt that way too, as a mentor for computer science. The first semester that I spent as a mentor, as a paid mentor, I had to spend half of behind a computer screen helping people that kind of felt to me like they hardly existed because I wasn't able to see them in person. To say the absolute least, this was really demotivating. And this contributed pretty greatly to why I wasn't making videos during this time period, because, I mean, obviously for a lot of the time I didn't have the spare time to do so, but when I did, I was too depressed. I just felt like nothing that I did mattered. And this was further cemented by future semesters, you know? But, you know, thankfully, there were the good moments that happened that semester. In particular, I mentioned the computer science mentoring. Well, turns out I was pretty good at that, whether it was in person or not. There were at least 2 occasions, probably more to be honest, where I was able to figure something out and help a student when a graduate TA couldn't figure it out. There was a sequence of random numbers that wasn't working properly. I was able to figure it out, the grad TA wasn't. And there was this other like loop bug that somebody had that was causing issues. I figured out the problem, a grad TA couldn't. So, you know, at least I was able to prove myself in that regard. And then finally, despite my complete lack of motivation that semester, towards the end of it when everything was online, I still managed to finish really goddamn strong. Not quite as strong as fall 2019, but still pretty strong. I was able to finish all of my classes with A's or A minuses, with the exception of electric circuits where I got a B+, but that didn't go on my transcript because of a policy specific to that semester that allowed you to have any class not affect your GPA, but if you passed it, it would still count towards graduation. So that's pretty awesome. I was making a joke that semester never happened, and I was expecting that to be the worst of it. And then I took a look at my summer schedule and realized, no, that's not going to be the worst of it. So, final exam week, spring 2020. I'm in a very difficult position, especially in Physics 2. The first exam in Physics 2, like I said, I didn't do very well on it. Second exam, I do a little better. Third exam was the worst of the three. So now I'm in a position where it's like when people say like, oh, in like the playoffs, like, oh, this is a must-win game. I'm in a position where this is a must-win game. Brian Regan has a good routine on that, by the way. Where it's like, mathematically, yeah, we can lose this one, but we can lose the next three. Then it's a must-win game. So, I was basically in a must-ace situation for the Physics 2 final exam. So, I gather all my notes, I get ready for the final exam, and I do way better on it than I expected to. And I calculate my average on my own. And, oh, did it max out at 999? I think it maxed out at 999. Alright, then I guess I'll beat the level then. This is good anyway, because we're almost done here, so... Yeah, this is perfect. Oh, I'm dead. I was about to say nice lives, but I just lost a life, so... Although this means that if we keep getting that extra life, we'll win with 69 lives. Now that is nice. So, I calculate my average on my own for Physics 2, and god damn it, and I have an A-, which is better than I thought it would be. So I'm like popping off, I'm like, holy shit, A-, then I get an email from the professor who's like, hey, so looking at that final exam, there were a couple questions on it, which he actually decided that because of how annoying the online exam system was with rounding errors, he made everything multiple choice, which definitely made things easier, which, you know, rare footage of an online class being made easier as a result of being online. I'm dead again. And so he's like, so there were a couple questions on there that weren't formatted properly, they were BS. If you got those wrong, I'm gonna give you 3 points. I look at my final exam again, and the grade is higher. And it's just enough to push my A- to an A. So I managed to get an A in Physics 2, which absolutely blew my fucking mind. Fuck the one up, by the way. We're just gonna do that. That's what I did in my walkthrough, by the way. Okay, come on. Don't screw this up. There we go. And it's a similar story for Kanos. I have to get a certain grade in order to get an A-, and I actually get the exact same final grade and final exam grade and final letter grade as one of my friends in that class, where we both got a 93 and an A-. So that was absolutely wonderful. I was happy about that one. The final exam for algorithms was bullshit, but because of the way it copied questions and solution manuals and all of that other stuff, if you looked in the right places, the exam was free. I just didn't study NP-complete problems nearly as much as I should have, so I bombed that question, but I aced everything else, so that was good. And then I was worried because our group had submitted our final segment of the final milestone for Omega Labs and Circuits late. We're like, is this even gonna get graded? You know, are we gonna get that final exam exemption? And on the group chat for that class, our professor's like, all right, I'm sending out the emails for the people who got the exemptions right now. So in the next hour, if you don't get one, you're taking this final. And so the minutes were ticking by. And I was just sitting there patiently awaiting it. And there it was. I got the email. You are exempt from the final. I'm just like, oh my god. Because I had this horrible feeling that the final was going to be really hard. And it was. I decided to take it because it was basically, this will count towards your grade if it improves it. It won't count towards your grade if it doesn't. Well, the exam was like 13 pages of purely conceptual theoretical problems. It was basically a troll exam, except it actually counted towards 25% of your grade if you had to take it. I think there probably was a curve applied to it, but yeah, that was pretty wild. So that was funny. And then my other two classes, I was actually worried about enrichment seminar because one of the things I had planned on my list of things I want to do in spring break was get in touch with my partners for enrichment seminar because I had forgotten who was in my group. Thankfully, I knew the handle on Discord of one of my group partners, so I was able to get in touch with her. Then, one of my other partners for that class contacts me on LinkedIn, of all places, and says, hey Joe, I'm in your group for enrichment seminar. I'm just like, thank you, I wouldn't have found you. And then the friend from Discord's like, hey, I got in contact with the third person. I'm like, yes, we found all the Dragon Balls, let's do this. And we ended up nailing the presentation. And that sort of sparked my permanent interest in quantum computing, which I would later take a class in the fall, which was kind of underwhelming, but still cool nonetheless. That's an episode 5 thing, though, not an episode 3 thing. And so, in terms of stuff that counted towards my transcript, I finished that semester with nothing but A's and A minuses. And for all of 2 weeks, or maybe it was 1 week, or maybe it was a week and a half, I was able to rest. And it was only that period of time because, well, it was time for the dreaded summer art semester. Except, I had gotten word midway through that semester that it wasn't just going to be your average awful summer art semester. It was going to be an online summer art semester. An entirely online summer art semester. Not only that, but one of my classes that semester had been canceled, and I had to find credit hours worth of a new one, which had scheduling conflicts, and so everything was screwing up. And so unlike spring 2020, I went into summer 2020 knowing that it was gonna suck, and I was not wrong. But that's a thing for next episode. We've spent enough time talking about how bad this semester was. Next semester we'll talk about a worse one. Because, remember, it can always get worse. It's a very negative note to end on, but it's a fitting one. But I'll see you then. Keep looking forward, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.